Take this job and shove it.
We are back. I am Mike Baumgartner, your work-life survival sage. You are listening to Jobcast Radio, final segment of our radio show for the week here, and I want to talk to you about your boss. I got an email earlier this week talking about from a woman in Florida. She had been in the job for about 8 years. She's been in the job for a while, and she just got a new boss. The boss that she had, she didn't go into specifics, either retired or quit. And so they hired somebody else, and there's a little bit of a bad feeling about that. They think that she should have been hired for that particular job. But they hired another individual, and she hates this individual. And she's wondering whether or not she should quit her job. And she's been in the company for 8 years. She's been there for a while. The boss is, in her words, mean, controlling, and micromanaging. And this is about 6 weeks into the job. So I want to answer to you, Kathy. Her first name is Kathy. To you and to anybody else who is dealing with this. Look, this is going to be happening more and more, especially as the economy grows back, because a lot of your bosses are probably pretty miserable in their job, and they're going to try and find another job. So they're going to jump, which means you're going to end up in another job, or even better or not better, somebody in your team ends up getting that job. Can you imagine how maddening it is to have the person that you're working with all of a sudden become your boss? Well, that happens as well. And it's true. There are a lot of bosses out there that the moment they become a boss, they become this megalomaniac, insane individual drunk with power, and they make your life miserable. So how do you deal with a boss that you dislike, that you don't like? And there's a lot of different things that I would say. Number one, know thyself. Kathy, certainly from your email, you've been in the job for 8 years. You're set in your ways. You've been doing things a certain way. And now here comes this individual. And the assumption probably is that he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know anything about the company. He doesn't know anything about the way things are done around there. And as a result, he's not learning the way things should be done. How dare he come in and expect you to do things his way? If that is the case, which I would suspect for many people, I would have to tell you, look, you need to have a heart-to-heart with this particular. Look, the end result may be you may need to quit your job or to transfer, because this is the kind of change that is very, very difficult for you and difficult for a lot of employees. Change is very difficult in the workplace because usually we go to work to enjoy the routine of it. We get up, we go to work, we have a job, we're in our comfort zone, we do what we need to do. Sure, we can put out the fires, but we've been there a while and stuff like that. Along comes somebody who doesn't understand the job by your definition, who is doing things a different way by your definition. Unfortunately, he's the one that has been put in authority. You need to have a conversation and really understand why he or she is making these changes, and really honestly have a heart to heart, and don't go in there from a sense of confrontation. Go in from really wanting to understand. Now, most people are normal, good people, and they don't mind it if somebody comes up to them and says, "Help me understand. For 8 years, we have done things a certain way. The reason that and you need to explain to them why you did or why you've been doing what you've been doing for 8 years, the way you've been doing it. Now, if you don't know what it is or why, it's just the happy routine. Well, then you you got no leg to stand on. But certainly, your job becomes educating your boss as to why things are done the way they are done, because there are all kinds of landmines for a new manager, and that you don't want him or her to step on them and blow his foot off, figuratively, in the professional realm of his new job as a manager. Now, if it is your intention to let him step on those landmines and blow himself up, thinking you can outlive your boss, and I know some of you do, some of you have been through 2 or 3 bosses, you get a new boss you don't like, you figure, well, I'm going to outlive you anyway because I've seen them come and go. then you're just a nasty person and you deserve having a lousy boss, my opinion. But I think if you go forward to your boss and say, why do you want to make these changes? That would be a really, really smart strategic thing. Don't try to wait out your boss. I mean, honestly, candidly, if look, there are two types of bosses. There's a boss who just doesn't know that you're unhappy, and there's a boss who's a jerk. A boss who is a jerk, yeah, you probably just need to quit, move on, get a transfer, or do something like that. Don't try. Why would you want to spend another year or so making yourself miserable? That just makes no sense. Now, I get it. You're scared. You don't want to do another job. But most bosses, candidly, I mean, make a list of the things that you are unhappy about and go and have a candid, frank, honest, adult conversation with him or her. Most bosses will say, I didn't even know you were unhappy. I get that, especially if it's a boss who doesn't have a lot of management experience, and that happens. Somebody gets put into a job, they just don't know how to manage people well. Well, then teach them how to manage you. Give them a chance. Wouldn't you want somebody to give you a chance when you're put in a new job? If you have and other coworkers, I'm assuming that there are several people with you, Kathy, who are unhappy, having a conversation. Again, not a gripe session. Teach this individual why you do things the way you do. Explain why you are unhappy, and explain how you guys can make his or her job easier or better. Because honestly, nobody appreciates, I mean, everybody is going to be, any manager is going to be happy if you tell him or her where the landmines are. Nobody wants to blow themselves up in a new job. And having people who have their back, who will give them advice of, hey, I know you're doing this. I hear some of the changes you're trying to push forward. Last time somebody tried to do this, this is what happened. You need to be aware of it. Now, also understand, a new boss usually has a whole new list of things that are expected of him or her because their boss has told them all the things that they didn't like about the last manager. So the last manager you may have liked really, really well, but there could have been things that his boss, the director or VP or whatever it is, has said, this person was okay or not. I want you to focus on this, this, and this. And that's why he's making these changes, is because he's been told, make these changes. So think this through. Now, if you have a boss that's a jerk, if you have somebody who has decided that they're going to make a few quick wins by making you look stupid, and there are bosses that are out there. So think this through and if you're a manager, a lot of managers will come in. This is not the ones who just, are nice people, but come in and they want to look like they're brilliant and smart. And how do you look like you're brilliant and smart? By making the people who are your direct reports look stupid. You go into a department and assume that everybody in the department doesn't know what they're doing. That's why you're now the manager, and you're going to fix everything, and you're going to build your credibility over the bodies of your employees with the mindset that it's okay if they quit. Good, I'm going to hire a bunch of people new anyway. Are there people like that? Absolutely there are. And if that is the case and you start getting wind of that and you start thinking that one through, honestly, get out of the job. If you want to look, if you want to fight for it, Kathy, if you want to fight for it, anybody out there with a boss who is that way, who has decided that they're going to be a superhero over the bodies of their department by making the department look lousy, by making them look like they didn't know what they were doing and that they were bad, lazy workers, I do see that. If you want to go battle with that, you give me a call. We'll talk about that. But frankly, why would you want to put yourself through that aggravation? If you're a good employee, you've been in a job for 8 years, start looking for it. You got a job now, take your time, pick the job that you want, or transfer out of there. I wouldn't blame you if you did that. So think that one through. Again, quick recap. If you've got a boss that is brand new, let's assume he just doesn't know what he or she is supposed to do, and they need some help adjusting to a new company. Or they're a mean, evil, megalomaniac, evil individual, and quite frankly, quit and get out of there. Or there's somebody who has decided they're going to be famous over making you look lousy and stupid. or they're just doing what they were told to do. Change happens. How you deal with change is the survival tactic of any job. Being able to make the change and just go with the flow is incredibly difficult, but it's also a great skill to have, because let's face it, where we were 5 years ago, we're not even in the same life. Sometimes I don't even think I'm living in the same country that I lived in 5 years ago. And honestly, I've been right here. So, dealing with change, we'll talk about that on another show, but you got a new boss, welcome to change. Take it step by step. Give me a shout. Again, my number 304-867-4142. You can also shoot me an email, mike@jobcastradio.com, 24/7. That wraps up this episode of Jobcast Radio. Again, catch me on the web. You can also find me on Facebook. I've got a fan page there. People who are following my tweets on Twitter. Again, Jobcast Radio. I am out there. Where are you? If you need help, give me a shout. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Take this job and shut it.